about is gangstalking of thought individuals. So this video will be speaking about what gangstalking is and a little bit about what it's not. As usual, I don't have a script for my video, so I decided to make a video on this topic. So, government gangstalking of thought individuals, it's real. It's nationwide. It exists in America and in Sweden, and I can't speak to every other nation, but definitely goes on in America and in Sweden. So I live in Sweden and I'm a persecuted Christian. Why do I say that? It's because I'm a Christian being told with this program. What is the program? It's persecution. It's oppression. So if I'm a Christian being taught with it, I can call myself a persecuted Christian. And people that are taught with this program that are not Christians, they're still persecuted, only not persecuted Christians. So government gangstalking of thought videos is real. And what is gangstalking of thought videos? It's a secret persecution program. Covert, secret, covered up persecution program. State persecution program. The state definitely has knowledge and awareness and participated in this. If you have something like gangstalking of thought videos going on in Sweden or America for more than 10 years, for sure the state has awareness of it. And if they've had awareness for more than 10 years and didn't stop it, that shows that they are complicit. Logical deduction. So if gangstalking is real, and it is, in America, it will be impossible for it to go on for more than a decade without the government having awareness, knowledge of it. And the fact that they haven't stopped it in of itself or made a press conference about it shows that they are complicit, that they are part of the conspiracy. In this day and age, with the surveillance society, NSA, CIA, FBI, DHS, everything, there's no way that something like this could be going on without the government knowing about it. So, gangstalking of thought videos is real. The former head of the Los Angeles FBI, Ted Gunderson, confirmed in a sworn affidavit that government gangstalking of thought videos is real. And he became a target himself and died. And I suspect he was murdered. He was poisoned by the program. So now we're getting into what gangstalking is and what it's not. Gangstalking is a state persecution program. It's reminiscent, it's similar to the Sursetzer program that the German government had in the 70s and 80s. So basically it's a program where target individuals are targeted with a program where there's a concerted effort to destroy the target's life. So gangstalking works to destroy a target's life. They work to attack the target's body and mind. A big part of the target is psychological warfare. And if you want to use another framework to explain the targeting, the psychological part, narcissistic abuse covers a big part of it. Where a big part of psychological target would be covert communication via flying monkeys, proxies. And the covert communication ranges from gaslighting to subtle threats and other things. So narcissistic abuse covers a big chunk of the targeting tactics in the psychological category. Now, gangstalking is not just psychological abuse. It's not just harassment. It's not just narcissistic abuse. It's narcissistic abuse, yes. And it's narcissistic abuse at the highest level that exists in modern culture. Meaning it's narcissistic abuse by the state with flying monkeys. Everything is upscale. I talked about this before. So if you think about run-of-the-mill narcissistic abuse, like the most common occurrences, it's like maybe a narcissist having a girlfriend subjecting her to narcissistic abuse, possibly recruiting a few people to be so-called flying monkeys. And the narcissist smear campaign is mostly limited to their charisma or something like this. How persuasive they can be talk about the target. And you might have things where a girlfriend is targeted by the boyfriend narcissistic abuse. They start talking and posting about feeling abused And then there's a smear campaign, damage control by the narcissist to paint the girlfriend as I'm worried about them. They've been showing signs of being mentally not well to discredit the person's testimony. And a smear campaign, one of them is like one person targeting one person with narcissistic abuse. And recruitment flying monkeys, it's at a low level. Smear campaign low level. So gang stalking is narcissistic abuse and then some, but just the narcissistic abuse component part of the targeting, it's narcissistic abuse at the highest level. Because the smear campaign is government level, meaning the Sursetson in the 70s, the Sursetson program, part of how they would recruit people and justify destroying a part of Sursetson's life was with falsified documents, convincing fake evidence in the 70s, 80s, which could be, I guess, you're working, you're a target of Sursetson, and they're working to get you fired from the job. And then the Stasi shows up, talks to your boss, and got like Polaroid pictures of you next to a burning church holding a can of gasoline or something like this. And be like, yeah, this person worked for you as an arsonist. And we got a program working to keep an eye on them. And it's like, why don't you fire them or something like this? But it never happened. So they could produce convincingly enough fake evidence in the government level smear campaign on targets of Sursetson in the 70s and 80s, pre-Photoshop, pre-advanced AI, pre-everything they had going on now. So everything's upscaled. The narcissistic, the smear campaign, government level. Recruitment flying monkeys, government level, where if the government is doing narcissistic abuse to you, they can pay flying monkeys hourly to be flying monkeys. The psychological warfare, like gaslighting, that's government level. Because it's the same people, the government, that has like a department on like the CIA, has Rag Guantanamo Bay, has studied psychological warfare, like how to destabilize people. Okay? So everything is upscale. So if that's all it was, the narcissistic abuse, psychological warfare, it will still be serious and really harmful and bad enough, I think, to like do what I'm doing and resist it. Okay? With activists and whistleblower. Now, unfortunately, it's not limited to psychological warfare, narcissistic abuse. They target you physically. So, gang stalking, in short, is a state persecution program that works to target the person with psychological and physical warfare, intending to destroy the target's life and hurt the person mentally and physically, weaken them, harm them. And it's slow murder because a lot of targets have died. So if you start being a target individual, you're being slowly murdered. You're being slowly murdered. And many targets have been targeted with the baseline slow murder program, and then the program has fastly murdered them, like quickly, taking them out, made them have an accident, a health problem, murder them, made it look like a suicide. And I was talking about this before the Epstein thing, where it's like one of the favorite ways of the deep state to take out problem people from their perspective is to murder, make it look like a suicide. So after I started whistleblowing about being targeted with abuse by flying monkeys over here in Sweden, and I started naming names and kind of I started getting more specific about some participants in this city. It's like these type of people have been targeting me, in my view. The same people went into damage control mode, and it's called DARVO. See, so the program uses DARVO tactics: deny, attack, reverse, victim, offender. So I started whistleblowing about some people targeting me for the program. And then the same people make reports to the psych ward and the police that I'm mentally ill and crazy. Time of events. I've been talking about these people have been targeting me for the program. And the same people, after I start speaking out about it, go on a smear campaign, DARVO campaign, where it's like Mike is crazy and mentally ill and dangerous. We need to get him into psych ward. And I was reacting to, with I've been targeted with narcissistic abuse that's working to make me mad. So basically, a person gets bullied all the time, starts losing their temper and reacting to the abuse, and then the abusers go, this person is unhinged and crazy and dangerous. Okay. So I got put in a psych ward by the same state targeted me. And to the credit of the doctor that held an interview with me, you don't remote diagnose people. So it's not that somebody can say you're crazy and then they lock you up for it. You have to have a person sit in the room with you and determine whether or not you're actually insane. So to the credit of the doctor at the psych ward, after interviewing me, and I was in there under observation. So it's like from the moment you're there, there's people like looking at how the patients are. And then eventually culminated with seeing a psych ward, like a doctor. And he said, it's like, I'm not mentally ill. I'm not showing signs of being paranoid, having like delusions or like needing to be kept locked up. Okay. So anyway, here's the point. And looking at the files that I have access to, what's been said about me to get me in a psych ward, there's a lot of lies to it. There's a lot of untruths, and I see malicious intent. Meaning, if I look at what people have been saying about me, it looks like somebody's out to paint me as mentally ill, like they have a goal to get me to psych ward, as if they're trying to make me look crazy and like the problem. So that's called doggle. Anyway, it's the point. I get into some of the end stage effects of being a target individual. So after more than a decade of being a target individual, I got put in a psych ward. And that's one of the goals of the program. Work to stabilize the target, work to harass them, target them mentally and physically, provoking the target, hoping that you will lash out, and then get in a psych ward. And I was concerned that maybe they murdered me there, make me have an accident, or murder me, make it look like I did it to myself, or use this inmate plant or a doctor plant in the psych ward to poison me or attack me somehow. But thanks to God, I made it out alive. So here's the point. Now that might not be the end of this. So anyway, here's the point. Gangstalking tornadoes is real. And gangstalking tornadoes is state persecution, which means it's a secret program that works to attack a person. It's not just harassment. It's not, so don't believe people that how it's just narcissistic, it's just mind games. No, they're working to target you physically. I've been poisoned. Targets are targeted with poisons, chemical attacks. Your food can be poisoned. You can be sprayed with chemicals. Ted Gunderson, who was the former head of the LA FBI whistleblower, which I like to reference and talk about this, he confirmed Gangstalking is real. He became a target himself. And one of the things that he talked about was they would have cars, vehicular stalkers, that would have covert devices, where either if you're a target on foot or in a car, they can have a car drive past you, they like push a button and they like gases. It shoots out like an aerosol or liquid jet and spray you with a chemical. And he was targeted with that. And I've been targeted that way, I believe. He also was poisoned. He was targeted with covert entry and then got sick, go to a doctor, test high for arsenic, I think it was, and recovered, but later on died. So covert entry is not just to mess with your mind. That's not a target tactic. The program wants to achieve access to the target's private abode, private quarters. And that's called covert entry. Covert as opposed to overt. So overt entry is like the most common entry into people's homes is overt entry by a burglar. And somebody comes home and it's like there's a window broken, a door. You can see like signs of like a crowbar has broken open the door. There's glass there and this thing's missing. And it's like somebody has obviously been in here. But part of the thought is called covert entry, where the program will have a landlord spare key, or they could hire a locksmith in the city, that's part of the program, or just copy your key, okay? So there's a wide variety of ways that if the government wants to get inside of it. Basically, as a mental framework that helps for targeted individuals, I've been teaching this. There's like known knowns, known unknowns, unknown unknowns, and targets can learn a lot about the targeting tactics, and that's valuable in of itself. Here's things they will do to you. A lot of targets haven't realized a few years into the target that the program is going inside the home with that way to contaminate the environment with toxic chemicals, poison food, things like this. So that's valuable in of itself to be made aware of the target tactics. And then on top of that, I've been teaching solutions, ways to protect yourself, to mitigate damage of the target tactics, and how to prevent, like how to block certain tactics and how to make other tactics hurt you less. Okay. So anyway, I suppose covert entry is part of targeting. And they're doing that to poison your food, drug your food, contaminate the environment with chemical irritants, things like this. So yeah, Gangstalking target is real. I'm gonna keep making videos about it. I've been talking about this for more than a decade. Government Gangstalking target is real. And it's not just narcissistic abuse and mind games. I've had to call this fake Tia stalked by the feds Lisa. And I'm not unlikely to increase the frequency of making videos on her. Because she's got to put my account as a fake Tia account intelligence agent. Okay. And she's minimizing target tactics. It's like, yeah, if the program goes inside the home, they just do that to mess you mentally. Whereas what I will tell you, and Ted Gunnarsson is like, covert entry, the program does that to contaminate the environment, poison you, and you really have to have a sense of urgency about stopping it. But notice how she served the abuse by like, yeah, covert entry, limited hangout, dumping it. Yeah, if they go inside the home, they just do that to mess you mentally. So you won't be motivated to take the right course of action to make it really hard to stop them from getting to go inside the home. And in case you notice they've been inside, that you like get rid of open food containers inside this, which would be my recommendation. Yeah, so I've been talking with Gangstalking videos for more than a decade. And the targeting is both physical and psychological. So I've been targeting physical ways and psychological, mostly covert. And part of the targeting is every time you go somewhere, there's people that are sent there, hence the term Gangstalking. Okay, so part of the targeting is if I go to the supermarket or corner store, there's going to be flying monkeys that get sent to either be already before I appear because it's spying on me. Everything is synchronized and timed and like very sophisticated. So they can have somebody in the supermarket there when you arrive, or a pair of perps at the entrance. They get told as you pass them to do some directed speech, okay, to use a trigger word or communicate a verbal threat, something like this. So every time you go out in public as a TIA, there's people that are sent to appear in the vicinity and do narcissistic dog abuse tactics. Some target tactics. Target tactics include but not limited to bribing, noise harassment, street theater, and directed speech. Those are some target tactics. So, Gangstalking abuse is real, and it's both psychological and physical targeting. And I'm a Christian being targeted with this, which means I'm a persecuted Christian, targeted with state persecution. And this has really hurt me a lot, but God has helped me. I credit God with it's truly amazing that I've been able to stay ripped with a six-pack and strong, fit, and healthy than the average person, despite this 10+ year persecution program. Because I've God in my life. And it's a problem with incompetent pastors, that the average Christian man is weaker mentally, physically, and more easily fatigued. Like I'm less healthy than me, despite me having been told with a program that's working to attack my mind and body, my mental and physical health. So I really needed to, I have been to afford to be ignorant. So anyway, government Gangstalking tolerance is real. I've been taught about this for more than a decade. And it's a combination of physical and psychological targeting. And it's similar to the Rosetsan program that the German government had in the 70s and 80s. And there were flying monkeys that were targeted for the program. After I started whistleblowing about my videos, I talked about getting more specific. Some of these people have been targeted for the program. The same people went on a Darvo smear campaign to paint me as mental. I want this guy is crazy. Okay, so basically be like you being bullied by people, like if you're workplace bullying, and you're being bullied every time you show up to work repeatedly, and then eventually you start like losing your temper and getting mad about the targeting, and then it's like, oh look, the person is crazy and unhinged. Classical Darvo tactics. That I've been told with Darvo tactics, where people working to break the law. Okay, it's illegal. Like if I look at what they've been doing, it's illegal. Psychological, like harassment and things like this. And seriously illegal, if you go by Swedish law. And the same people that have been breaking the law and abusing me, when I start talking about that they've been abusing me. They paint me as mental ill and crazy, and this guy says unhinged and go to the psychosis. So yeah, it's really disgusting. I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna keep working to get the word about this, and I believe that I can really have an effect in the word out. And it's like no matter what, I'm gonna keep doing work. I'm gonna keep getting word about Gangstalking. And it's disgusting to see how other Christians have been turning a blind eye to this. And I've only seen other Christians participate in the target, not supporting you while being persecuted. So, anyway, I'm gonna finish up, and jag ska börja the video. My name is Mikael Andreas Svärd Saha, Mike Saha, and I was born 89, and I live in Oxelösund, Sweden. And I'm the target of state persecution, called Gangstalking of tornadoes, a secret state persecution program. And I've been targeted for more than a decade, more than 10 years. And yeah,